Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. In the first story, our OP's uncle got paid twice for the same work. Seems like being respectful in the face of stupid clients is a good idea. So before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You want me to shut up and follow your directions? Okie dokie. This happened around the early 2000s when I was working for my uncle's fencing company. So customer A, Hole, purchased a new constructed home, cookie cutter, everything builder grade. The land plots were divided only by fluorescent orange marking spray paint, hardly official. My uncle submitted a bid per customer A's request, and we got the project. We had the lowest bid, around $1,200 lower than the competition. The caveat, we collect full payment up front. Not a deal breaker for customers as we accept credit card payments. This way, both parties are protected from fraud. During that time, my uncle had just left his previous job as a land surveyor. His specialty? Property line surveying. The estimated property line marked by the above-mentioned orange spray paint was nearly 2 feet off on one side of customer A's property. My uncle makes the necessary adjustments/markings, and we start digging the post holes. Customer A makes a surprise job site visit/inspection. He sees our post holes and turns beet red. He rushes towards us and starts dropping F-bombs left and right. What the F are you idiots doing? You're giving away part of my property to my effing neighbor. Can't you effers effing see the bright orange marking on the effing dirt? I want you geniuses to fill up these holes ASAP and dig right where the orange lines are. I want my fence directly on top of the orange lines. I just about lost it and was about to get in customer A's face. My uncle stops me and he tries to explain the orange lines are off. Customer A, I'm the one paying here, not you, so you follow my effing directions. Uncle, please let me explain. Customer A, no. I paid you in full. You're not paid to explain. You're paid to build my fence exactly the way I want it, where I want it. This effing conversation is over. He drives off and my uncle looks at me with a malicious smile. OP, let's grab an early lunch and then we'll give him what he wants. I shrug. Over lunch, he calls my aunt, his secretary, to have her draft a new JOC work order, contract. In it, it's explicitly and officially noted that the fence will be erected 22 inches east of the official property line and that the customer will shoulder full responsibility and liability should a conflict arise either with their future new neighbor, the home next door was still unsold at that point, or any other party. Aunt emails the contract to customer A. My uncle and I have our 2-martini lunch hour. Aunt calls and says customer A has signed and emailed the new contract back to her. And now that we have a paper trail, we go back to the site and continue working. That same afternoon, customer A pays us another visit and says, just checking to see if you decided to follow my instructions. You idiots didn't wait for me to sign the new contract before resuming work, did you? Me. We sure did. As he turned around to leave, I can hear him mouth something of, effing idiots. Upon completion, 3 days later, he signs off that the work was satisfactory. He was still in a-hole mode, refusing to acknowledge either my uncle or I when we thanked him for his business. 4 months later, he contacts my uncle again, requesting for him to bid on a new project. Yep, you guessed it, to move the existing fence on top of the official property line. We gave him an unreasonably high bid and still secured the project. This time around, he was a teddy bear throughout the entire project. At least the dope had the sense to come back and pay the a-hole tax to the people he should have listened to. And our second story. Desperate friend of a friend got laid off and needs a new job. I met a friend of a friend who really was a co-worker of a guy I worked with in years past. The friend of mine hadn't seen each other in a while, but he calls me up one day and asked me if I could meet him for coffee. I said sure, and after I pay for coffee, he did offer. We chat, catch up, and he says the real reason he reached out was because he knew I worked at a great company and that I had some clout within the organization. He says he worked with a guy a long time who's fallen on hard times and was laid off a few months ago, and has tried everything and still coming up with nothing. He said I was always one to help if I could do him a favor. It sounded like a bit of ego stroking, but I did and do have a very good pull for these types of things, and I'm always happy to help. If there's anything I can do, I always try to help because in my view, if I was in that position, I wouldn't mind a helping hand, especially since I never really had help like that and hope this person could pay it forward. Anyways, I called the guy and let him know I spoke to friend and mentioned that I might be able to scour our internal postings for him, find something related to his experience, and if he wanted to apply, I'd get the hiring manager and or the HR person to reach out. Here's the first red flag that I should have picked up on. He wasn't as receptive or as grateful for that officer and instead kept asking things like, "Don't you know the big boss? Are there higher job title than his original spots? I don't really want to start from scratch," and crap like that. Basically things that didn't really line up with a desperate guy who's tried everything. Regardless, and by coincidence, I found a posting for a role that lined up very well with his past experience, very similar role to what he's done in the past. It was an adjacent team in a region that was very close to said individual's old job, good pay, great people on the team whom I know, and I show the posting to this guy expecting a, "Wow, that's great. What do you need from me?" type of thing. Instead, I got a very tempered response with complaints about commute being too far from home, with other stuff like wanting more money and higher job title, all from which makes sense if the guy was already working and looking for a promotion versus a guy who's been laid off with no work the last few months. I end up having to tell the guy on the job, organization, money, even telling him how much he'd probably make and what to ask for. He asks me, "Can I see your resume?" just to make sure I think mine is bad. I say no, mine is up to date and I don't really want to share it right now. Backed off. In the meantime, I do what I promised and type a good referral note to hiring manager and HR and BCC the guy so he knows I've done my part and all he has to do is apply formally and he'll get a call. 2 weeks go by and no follow-up with me from anyone, so I reach out to the guy and say, "Hey, did you get a call?" He tells me, "Not yet. He hasn't applied yet because he didn't customize his resume and cover letter like I told him to because it was a lot of work." By the time he did all this and submitted, they closed the posting and were already down the road with several candidates. Once that happens, not really much I can do, as there are most likely other candidates that are in. They also said the person didn't apply, so they couldn't do anything and had lots of people apply for that role inside and outside of the organization. So basically it was better luck next time. I gave the guy the bad news, and guy asks if I could see if they could reconsider. Guy follows up every day with me via email, then blows up my phone after a few days while I was working with some frustrated and angry texts. One of the texts read, "Listen, man, I don't know why you're ignoring me, but next time don't offer to help someone get a job if you can't. Not cool." I simply reply with, "You should have applied how and when I told you to. I'm sorry it didn't work out." Blocked and deleted after that. Reached out to a friend who originally referred him, and he let me know that he didn't know the guy that well, but felt really bad for that, and was shocked that guy was that indifferent given his situation. With the attitude he has towards doing a few adjustments to his resume and writing a cover letter, he'd likely be a horrible worker anyway. And our last story. Woman spoke to the owner of my store about having me fired. I'm a sales associate at a jewelry store known for our charm bracelets. I started a month ago, so they still make me wear my trainee tag just in case someone gets angry with me. I sometimes feel like customers take advantage of me because of this, but either way, I make my own sales and deal with customers by myself. Now, for the past month, everyone's been very understanding and patient with my work, customers and coworkers alike. However, this one older woman came in the other day and completely destroyed the way I see my job. Woman walks in. I can tell she's wealthy by all her gold jewelry. Me. "Hello, ma'am. What brings you in today?" Woman. "Hi, I saw that you have a white braided leather bracelet." Me. "Sure, I'd be happy to show you our leather bracelets, although the closest color to white we carry would be the champagne." Woman. "Okay, let me see it." I go around the jewelry showcase and pull out the standard champagne leather bracelet. Woman. No, that's not the one I saw in the advertisement. Me. I'm sorry about that. Do you remember how many times it wrapped around the wrist? We have the single and the double bracelets in this color. I pull out the double wrapped bracelet. Woman. No, it was thick and it was white, not champagne. Me. Like I said before, we don't carry our leather bracelets in the color white. They also only come in one standard width. Woman. This is preposterous. Why would your advertisement lie? Me. I'm very sorry about that. May I ask where you saw the advertisement? Woman. In insert name of large department store chain here. Me. That department store is not qualified to sell our jewelry. You might have seen an ad for another brand. Woman. I have known the owner of this store for 30 years, and I will have you fired. That escalated quickly. Me. You're free to talk to the owner about my performance. I'm sorry that I couldn't help you today. Woman. You do not deserve this job. My manager realizes what's happening, and I step away. The woman had to be taken out of our store by security. Honestly, did she think I was lying to her or something? Also, I spoke to the owner of the store, and he said that she's crazy and not to worry about her. It's just so frustrating. Retail is full of these entitled a-holes. You just have to grow a thick skin and brush off their attitude and comments. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.